Kona, I have some questions for you, okay? How are you feeling about your daddy being in the hospital? Okay, I understand. Yeah, it's kind of sad. So, what are you going to do to prepare a welcome for him? What? Really? You going to hide your face? You're upset. Come home, Ma. Come home, Dad.
What is happening, people? It is Brian, Alsruhe, NeverSay.com, and I'm sure a lot of you are wondering, what in the heck happened to me? Bad things happen. So for those of you who do not know, I went for a regular scheduled checkup for my shoulder because I had a bump sticking out of it, which is no longer there because it got surgically removed. That happened Monday morning. Now, once the doctor saw the bump, he said that I needed emergency surgery. So as of Wednesday midday, I was in the hospital getting my prep for surgery. So basically the idea was that they were going to go in, they were going to open up the big lump of whatever it was, clean out whatever's inside there, pack it full of antibiotics because they were afraid that it was an infection getting to the bone marrow. And if that happens, that is a very, very serious, massively serious thing. So they wanted to make sure that wasn't going to get to that point. So on Wednesday midday, they opened it up. I was put to sleep. They opened it up, dug it all out. It ended up being filled with dead fatty deposits. Now, I don't know what that means, and I'm sure that you probably don't know what that means, but apparently the doctors do know what that means. But they were still very, very afraid that there was still infection both in the joint as well as in the bone marrow. So what they decided to do is keep me overnight and let an infectious disease doctor take a look at me, look at my cultures, look at the surgery, look at everything, and he will make the decision whether he actually thinks that I have potential for a bone marrow infection or not. Let's go ahead and hope not. Originally, the plan was for me to go in, get this cut out, it'd take about an hour, and I would be on my way home, getting ready for recovery. But as I came out of surgery, apparently I have weird things when I come out of anesthesia. Sometimes I am super violent. Like there have been episodes in my life when I've come out of anesthesia and literally wrecked recovery rooms. That hasn't happened for a very, very long time though. I think that was more of a young man's game, and now apparently when I come out of anesthesia, I either ask for hugs or high fives, which is strange because I don't even give high fives in real life. But apparently I do when I sleep like Michael Jackson. Now before I get involved in this very complicated and disturbing story, I just need to say thank you to my beautiful wife, Elena, my beautiful friend, Em, as well as Garrett, because if it were not for the three of you, I would still be sitting in a hospital bed. The doctors wanted to keep me throughout the entire weekend and into next week before they started doing more work on me. But if you guys know me personally at all, you will know that I do not do well with a cage, and I will literally pace the room if you stick me in a room, and that's exactly what it was. I was absolutely miserable. If you want to make me completely miserable, stick me in a room and do not let me do anything at all besides lay in a bed. So as any good man would do, I went all Shawshank Redemption and started looking for ways to escape. And if it weren't for those three people, I definitely could not have gotten out when I did. So I cannot thank you guys enough for saving me from that misery. I was horribly, I hate being in that situation. So if it were not for the kindness and love of the three of you, there's absolutely no way that I would have gotten out. So I owe you guys so much. Now, as far as the actual surgery, that actually went pretty well. My rotator cuff is showing no signs of any damage. So all these stupid things that I've been doing and pushing too fast to get back, apparently none of that has been affecting the actual rotator cuff. That's probably a lot of luck because I've done some stupid things, and I would encourage you guys not to do that. Kona, please stop. However, when you get an infection actually in the bone marrow, the only way that it could get there is through something being drilled in there. So it's probably from the hardware, something gone wrong with the hardware, my body's reaction to the hardware or suture or the anchors or whatever the case may be, and it started reacting, and that's where the infection started coming from. So after the infectious doctor looked at all my stuff, this would have been Wednesday, midday was the surgery. I stayed over Wednesday night, so Thursday morning at about 6:37 a.m., the infectious disease doctor came in, and I was expecting him to say, hey, it's all good, you can go home, this is great, and that is absolutely not the news that I got. What I got instead was pretty much the worst thing that you could ever do to me. So the infectious disease doctor explained to me that if I did not do something called a PICC line, where they stick a port essentially in your arm. And this is the grossest thing in the world to me. For some of you know that I'm afraid of needles. And the reason why I'm afraid of needles is not the stick, it's not the pain. You guys have seen big scars across my chest. It's not pain. I'm not afraid of pain. What I'm afraid of is the gross... That was Kona. Say hi to the people, Kona. Say hi right there. Say hi. Say hi. Say, what are you guys doing besides trying to wreck my video? Go. All right, with that interruption, I'm going to change directions real fast and explain to you guys the biggest fear that I've ever had in my entire life, the illogical fear. I'm not talking about fear of things that actually should scare you, but the biggest illogical fear, like needles, spiders, snakes, dumb stuff that people are afraid of that doesn't really matter, that makes them feel almost gross, like nails on chalkboard or chewing on cotton balls or something. The thing that is that for me is the idea of getting a catheter. Not a catheter like a urinary catheter. The idea of that creeps me out, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't sound that bad. What creeps me out is the idea of someone sticking a tube into my veins, fishing it through my veins into my heart. Whenever I've heard of that, my stomach literally turns over because it seems like the grossest thing in the absolute world to me, and that is exactly what this doctor was telling me that I needed to get. Now, he was encouraging me to get it in my arm, but the only problem if they stick it in your arm is that you can't lift your arm above your head. Now, the only issue with that is that I only have this arm right now, so I literally wouldn't be able to do much of anything, and I'm not trying to walk around looking like a hot dog. So I actually refused the PICC line in my arm, and I asked for oral antibiotics, at which time they said, well, you throw up every single day, multiple times a day, so you're not gonna get the absorption, so absolutely not, we will not allow you to do that. So the third option, which ended up being the most uncomfortable and not very cool option, ended up being sticking a PICC line in my chest. So as you guys can see, I have a literal line sticking out of my chest. Now that goes in my vein, down, fishes through the vein, and then goes into my heart. Now, as I deal with the 12 steps of acceptance about this, a lot of things are rolling through my head. Apparently, because it is such an intricate surgery, they need to have you in a x-ray room so that they can actually be taking x-rays so they can see where they're fishing the line, the wire, to get it into your vein. And for most people, they put you to sleep, which definitely would have been preferable. But since I had just been put to sleep, they couldn't put me to sleep again. I had food in my belly, so pretty much I needed to stay awake. Now, they gave me some sort of pill that was supposed to chill me out. However, they gave me the pill about 5 minutes before the operation started, and it definitely did not kick in until after the operation. So I'm sitting outside the operating room, which ended up being the x-ray room because they needed to do the visual. And the doctor's explaining to me what is going to happen, the complications, what could go right, what could go wrong, and it's asking me to sign on a consent form. And people, there have been many times in my life where I've had some really scary, horrible things happen to me, whether it be my old job, whether it be through fighting, whether it be through lifting. Some terrible, painful things have happened to me. Not once, medically, have I ever been scared. I've never truly been scared. Even when I broke my back second time, my leg was paralyzed. I still wasn't scared. I believe that I'd come back from that. This scared the heck out of me. So I'm laying on this little gurney outside the x-ray room, getting ready to get a thing jammed into my vein, sticking in my heart. And all that my brain is thinking is, run, dude. It is not too late. You can jump out of bed. You can be down the hall and out the door in no time. But then I kept waiting on that, and suddenly the doors opened and they pushed me in. Now, my initial thought was, it's too late. You are stuck now. Until all the people left the room once I got on the operating table. And then again, my brain started, run, dude, they're never gonna catch you. You can totally get out of this still. But procrastination took over again, and before I knew it, they were jabbing needles into my throat. So they gave me a bunch of numbing needles here, and then you can't see what's actually happening. I could watch on an x-ray machine that, because my face had to be turned away from the actual surgery, and all that there was one nurse standing on this side in an x-ray machine. So I was watching an x-ray machine, watching a wire being fished through my veins, which was really disgusting. And then secondly, I had a nurse who, you guys know when, like, if you're a parent of a child and they fall down and hurt themselves, if you have this face, like, oh no, are you okay? That kid will freak out. The nurse had the, you're okay, dude. You're okay. You're okay, man. You're okay. Hang in there. That was less than reassuring. So basically what happens is they start jamming a tube, and you want to think about the thickness. It's similar to like a pencil, except much, much longer. You're talking like feet long because it's got to fish through everything. And I think of it as like a clutch cable because there's an exterior that's going to stay and there's an interior wire that needs to be able to be fished through. So when he's pushing it in, my whole body is moving because it's that hard to shove through my body, which was disgusting, believe it or not. And finally, I hear the doctor say, it's almost over, dude. It's almost over. Don't worry, you're almost through. And I am super relieved because I've never been that uncomfortable in just grossness in my life. However, what the doctor failed to mention is that the part that he was saying it's almost over was the part where he's going to stick it into my heart. So he starts jabbing me, and my heart starts doing weird things, like weird palpitations and just strange things that my heart's never done before. And he asked if I was okay, and I was like, my heart's doing weird things. He's like, it'll stop, don't worry. So as that went on, and then I thought that was going to be it. I thought that meant that it was over, but it had just begun, because then he told the nurse to pull out the wire, which you could literally hear the friction like zzz, as they're pulling it out. That was pretty gross. And then they put sutures in and sent me back to my room. I'm literally sweating after telling that story. It was so stressful to me. So after all that, I ended up staying in the hospital for about another day and a half, and I got released Friday night again because there are 3 people fighting for me. They wanted to keep me all weekend long to send me home with a different antibiotic. So to show you guys the sites here, I have a couple bumps on my shoulder. I'm not going to show you all 3, but there's one, and then there's a third one back there. Those are the incisions where they opened me up and cleaned everything out and checked out the rotator cuff, and that all looks good. Now, this port has to stay in for 6 weeks, all right? This is called a central line. Kona, come on, man. I'm talking about my central line here. You gotta give me some time. But what having that central line on my chest really means is that every 8 hours for the next 6 weeks, 3 times a day, I need to stick all this stuff into my body, and you guys know how much I love needles. So all this needs to go into my body 3 times a day. Right now I'm doing it 6 a.m., 2 p.m., and then 10 p.m. Every single day. So it is a big life-changing thing. I will literally be every 6 weeks. Right now I'm not allowed to shake anyone's hand. I'm not allowed to give hugs. I am not allowed to be around anyone that is sick whatsoever, because this line leads directly to my heart. If I get it dirty, or if I get sick, or I get anything, I'm very, very much compromised. So they don't want me around anyone who has been ill whatsoever, because of the high risk of what could potentially happen, which is something I don't want to think about. It's something that's not going to happen, because we're going to will it not to happen. Now, the other strange part about this is when I go out in public with all you godless heathens, godless heathens. But when I am out in public, like someplace where there's a lot of people that you can't be sure of their cleanliness, I am supposed to wear a mask for the next 6 weeks. So it's going to look like I am one of those crazy people running around afraid of the bird flu. Oh, people. And if that wasn't good enough news, this doesn't even have a guarantee to work. But if I do have a bone marrow infection, hopefully it will take care of it. Nurses need to come out to my house multiple times a week to make sure that all of this is good. The dressing, at least once a week, they'll be taking blood work to make sure that I'm not passing over into anything too bad. But my lifting is going to have to change a little bit. I'm going to have to be a little bit lighter for a little bit because of the pressure and other things. So I don't really know what it's going to look like yet. The bad part about this is after the 6 weeks, a couple weeks after that, because infection is not going to show up while there's active antibiotics, that many at least, being shoved in my body every single day. So we won't really know for about 8 to 10 weeks whether it actually worked. And if it doesn't work and gets reinfected, then they're going to have to go in, take all of the hardware back out, let me heal for about 6 months, and then go back in, redo it all, and then that'll be another 6-month process. So we're really willing that not to happen. And for the first time in my life, I'm actually taking medical advice seriously. I am not a good patient. I don't listen to doctors. I don't do the things that I'm supposed to do. I do what I think is best, which is usually detrimental to my health. However, on this one, I am 100% following it to a T, because this is nothing to be messing around. The type of infections or air bubbles or blood clots, when it goes directly to your heart, the chances of you having a really bad day go up substantially. So anyway, all of that is in the past, and I do really want to thank all of you for all your support. All of you reached out to me on Instagram and just thanked me. Really, really cool, guys. I'm astounded by everyone who has reached out to me, and the people at my gym put together a gift bag within like 2 days that was absolutely filled with all kinds of stuff for myself, my wife, for Kona. Man, guys from the gym, my family, my gym family, you guys overwhelm me with love and appreciation, and I cannot thank you guys enough. I will hopefully be back there as soon as I possibly can. But if you're sick, you stay out of the gym. Don't kill me. If you kill me, I'm haunting you. But other than that, guys, most of the programs should be done. If you guys did get a program within the last couple days, it actually came to you from a hospital bed, so that was pretty special. I actually did quite a few programs from a hospital bed, as well as designed the entire new program that I'm going to be putting up for free online here within hopefully a week or so. I'm not sure when everything's going to play out, but I cannot wait to get back to work. I cannot wait to get back to just getting after normal life and for the bad news to stop rolling in. But guys, my spirits are super high. I feel super thankful for all the people in my life and all things that have gone on. Yes, it is super uncomfortable, but I got to face one of the biggest fears of my life, which is something that maybe I never would have gotten to do. So I feel like I handled it well. I'm proud of how that went. And that's probably the biggest positive that came out of the entire thing. The biggest negative and positive, probably. So, anyway, guys, I thank you guys so much for all your well wishes and all your support and all your thoughts and prayers. And you guys are just amazing. I will catch up with you later in the week. But until I do, go out and do something amazing, realize, keep working hard, be nice to each other, people. And I'll see you then.